This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Greetings viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I am Tinsai Gabiao bringing you today's latest news. First, here are our top stories for today. President Taye calls on actors to remove barriers hindering climate finance. U.S.-African Union attends second Oversight Committee meeting for Congo-Rwanda peace deal. Azule Energy to invest $5 billion over the next 5 years in Angola. Now, the news in detail. President Taye Asselassie urged climate actors to remove bureaucratic barriers that could hinder climate finance progress. In his address at the official opening of the second UN Climate Week, President Taye Asselassie called upon climate stakeholders to tackle the bureaucratic obstacles that impede climate finance progress, highlighting the most significant barrier is the unpredictability and inaccessibility of climate funds. President Taye emphasized the need for pledges to be backed by concrete commitments and funding provisions. The president outlined a cooperative agenda for climate finance that requires a major rescue strategy and bold measures, particularly for nations in the global south, where access to adequate funds has been a persistent challenge. Qatar, United States, Togo, and the African Union Commission participated in the second Joint Oversight Committee meeting for the peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, the U.S. State Department said in a joint statement released on Wednesday. Committee members acknowledged slowness in the implementation of some elements of the agreement, according to the statement. The DRC and Rwanda committed to the technical level, intelligence, and military channel for direct exchange of information in advance of the next JSCM meeting in Doha. Togo represented the African Union in the meeting. A British delegation held talks in Tripoli on Tuesday to discuss ways of strengthening military cooperation between the UK and Libya. The delegation, led by Admiral Edward Dahlgren, senior advisor of the UK Ministry of Defence for Middle East and Northern Africa Affairs, held separate meetings with Libyan Presidency Council head Mohammed Al-Menfi and Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dabibi. The council said in a statement that discussions address prospects for bilateral cooperation between the two countries and ways to strengthen the strategic partnership in the fields of security and defense. The two sides also discussed regional issues, including counterterrorism efforts, irregular migration, and strengthening the capabilities of the Libyan military institution. Global innovators have convened this week for the G20 Research and Innovation Working Group Hackathon to tackle one of the world's most pressing challenges, reducing disaster risk in the context of accelerating climate change. Hosted virtually by South Africa's Department of Science, Technology and Innovation as a flagship initiative of this year's Group of 20 RIWG agenda, the hackathon runs from Tuesday to Friday under the theme Disaster Risk Reduction through Open Innovation. This year's challenge focuses on forecasting informal urban expansion and its implications for flood risk using advanced digital tools and real-world data, the DSTI said in a statement late Tuesday. In other news, Typhoon Peppa is expected to approach western Japan, including Kyushu, and could make landfall water later this week, the weather agency said Thursday, warning of heavy rain mainly along western Japan. The Japan Meteorological Agency said a tropical depression over waters east of Amami Oshima Island and southwestern Japan developed into a tropical storm as of 3 a.m. local time Thursday. As of 6 a.m. local time, Peppa was moving northward at a speed of 30 kilometers an hour, packing winds of up to 9 kilometers per hour, the JMA added. Extreme downpours were already pounding southern Kyushu, and warm, damp air from the south flowed in. Argentina officials on Wednesday announced they had recovered a painting stolen decades ago by the Nazis following days of international intrigue and raids to track down the work of art after it was spotted in a real estate photo. The portrait of Contessa Caglioni by Italian artist Giuseppe Gasciolandi was displayed in a room at a federal prosecutor's office in the coastal city of Mar del Plata, where officials told journalists they would soon reveal more details about the painting's recovery. The Italian masterpiece is featured on a database of works of art stolen by the Nazis and has been missing for 80 years.
The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. All the time, Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Now to business news. Azule Energy, the joint venture between Italian oil and gas explorer Eni and BP, expects to invest another $5 billion in Angola over the next 4 to 5 years. Eni's chief operating officer, Guido Brusco, told Reuters on Wednesday. The latest investment in both new and existing projects will match investments in oil and gas projects since the joint venture launched 3 years ago in sub-Saharan Africa's #2 oil producer. Angola has overhauled its regulatory regime, wooing new investments as the former OPEC member looks to maintain oil production above 1 million barrels a day. We have in the next 4 to 5 years 18 wells to be drilled, on which 2/3 are operated by Azule and 1/3 operated by others, Brusco said on the sidelines of an oil and gas conference. Finally, the East African community commenced the 58th extraordinary meeting of the EAC Council of Ministers at its headquarters in Tanzania's northern city of Arusha. According to a statement by the regional bloc, the meetings will run through Saturday and deliberate on strategic policy matters aimed at enhancing regional integration and sustainable development. The sectoral council is reviewing the draft's 7th EAC development strategy, terms of reference for updating the EAC Vision 2050, and proposals for the regional language policy. Delegates are also discussing progress on eliminating non-tariff barriers and evaluating the bloc's activities for the second half of the 2025, Xinhua reported. Before we close, here are a quick look at the latest global commodities price updates. Next, let's take a look at the current weather forecast. That's all from Pulse of Africa today. Thank you for being with us.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.